Thank God.
What's that? Are we running?
Yeah, camera is rolling. Hi.
Very cool. Hi.
Thank you for sitting down with me. Stars.
Absolutely.
This is Metrocon 2014. This is TJOmega for TJOmega.org. And this is Nolan North.
Yes.
Can you believe it?
I can't even myself.
Yeah. It's just an illusion. It's just a hologram.
Smoke and mirrors.
Mm-hmm. It's not really here. It's CG.
It is. I'm actually in California. I'm not sweating in Tampa, Florida, in the humidity.
For those who haven't kept up, wake up. The man's been in Ninja Turtles, Transformers, G.I. Joe. It's like sitting next to the 80s.
Wow!
It's a wonderful thing.
The 80s were not so bad.
No, I love the 80s.
You know, parachute pants, members only jacket.
Yeah.
Some questionable wearing of the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have my son is 14, and he sees pictures of me when I played basketball in high school, and the shorts were pretty high up there. And now,
Yeah.
if they're not below the knee, you're not cool. So
No.
I was very uncool in my house. It's not good.
I miss the fluorescent colors from the 80s.
You can still get some leg warmers.
Leg warmers? No, actually, leg warmers would not be good right now.
No,
No.
not at all.
No. Now, as a fan, it's a big thing for me to go, oh, he's been in all these franchises that I've grown up with, and they're new again. But as an actor, to be part of things that have been around for so long, what does that mean for you?
Well, you know, I mean, it's legacy, right? You know, I mean, when I kind of missed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, you know, to start with that one. I kind of missed that phase, you know, just in the you know, my age. But when we went to do the TMNT movie in 2007, I guess it came out, it was amazing to find out the whole lore that they had created and the entire, you know, universe that they created and had been around forever. Because I just remember the movies with, you know, the guys in the rubber suits.
Right.
But then, you know, to you know, then of course the comics and everything, how it, you know, Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman created everything. And when you're brought into this world, you know, to play Raphael, that was amazing. And now with the cartoon series we do, you know, to flip it around and play the Krang and
Right.
to get to play with that kind of stuff, just to be part of that is one thing. Any kind of, you know, I got a chance to play Superboy and Superman for Young Justice. You know, I grew up watching Super Friends, doing that kind of stuff. So, you know, that was pretty cool. You know, anytime I've done video games for like anything but the Star Wars, or if I did Clone Wars, you know, to say that I was a little, you know, cog in this massive wheel. It's, you know, it's like a little feather in your cap that you like to have, because, you know, all the actors that do this, we're just as much fans as well, you know. So it's, I remember the first time I ever worked with Mark Hamill, you know, that was, you know, to sit and, you know, right next to him and, you know, to talk with him between takes and knowing that, you know, I was too embarrassed to say anything to him, like, you're my favorite, you know, but, you know, because you know everybody's going to talk about Luke Skywalker, but the brilliance that he did with the Joker, I mean, forget it. That was just amazing. So, you know, he's multi-talented, and it just, the one thing I've noticed is we're all fans of each other and the work we do. So it's you know, it's very, very cool. I was also a big Looney Tunes fan, but I haven't tapped into that universe, but I'm working on it.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
We hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned the Krang, which means you are both one of my favorite and least favorite elements in that show. Written to be irritating, but
yes, very irritating. Irritating is so unkind to say. Krang is nothing but irritating.
I love doing
my
Krang.
gosh.
Krang is one of the best because
All we have to ever do is this, and never have to do anything.
Well, it always struck me nice about the Krang lines is they've only got about 3 words a line, and they just say it over and over.
Yes, and only about maybe 4 lines a show. And while all those guys are sweating and yelling and screaming, I get my 4 lines done, sign my paperwork, and I'm out the door, you know, going to enjoy the sunshine or something. But while they're, you know, Raphael and Mikey and everybody are screaming their heads off. So Krang has some perks to it. And you know, the ultimate Krang, the Krang leader, Roseanne Barr. I'm not sure if fans know that. That's actually Roseanne Barr. And I've yet to meet the Krang leader. She's a very busy woman, but
Can't meet his own leader.
Her and it was her and who did the other one was Gilbert Gottfried came in and did a turn.
Right.
So now to say that I technically kind of worked with those two, it's kind of
It
another
looks the
feather.
same on IMDb. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So why is it irritating and your favorite?
It's
As I interview him.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because it's intentionally written to be that way.
Yeah.
They're so clumsy with the language that it just comes off just grating. But I know it's supposed to be that way, so I actually appreciate what they've accomplished with the Krang performance. What
Yes.
you've accomplished.
Yeah. Well, it's the way they wrote it, and then when we they turn the phrases around so much, and I just love the fact that they're just this little, looks like a pink Jello mold
Yeah.
inside the Norman. That's just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. You also mentioned Superman and Superboy. You almost mentioned my whole interview card here, so this makes it easy.
Yeah. Well, I
This is-
tend to get long-winded.
Yeah, this is the other thing that interests me. When a voice actor gets to, I was going to phrase it as play with yourself, but let's not do that. No, when you're doing two characters in the same scene, when you're actually
Yeah.
talking to yourself, in the booth, how does that work in your brain?
Well, I'll give you an even better example.
Mhm.
I did the Deadpool video game.
Okay, look, here, see, we're doing this in order.
You want to do that? Well, Deadpool I got to talk about because Deadpool was actually 3 separate
Mhm.
personalities of the same person, but we did it consecutively talking to each other rather than do all this one lines.
It's Deadpool when he talks like this the whole time. And then the other one when he's up high.
And the other one when he's down low and being more serious. Rather than do those one at a time, I insisted I thought it would be more schizophrenic and it was hard. We didn't always get it on the first take, but to go one to the other because that's how he's bouncing around in his head. And I didn't want it to look engineered,
Right.
literally,
Right.
not just figuratively. I didn't want it to look engineered where they just kind of piece it together because then the timing isn't natural. But yeah, it's happened a lot. It happens to a lot of actors when we do something. I did something at Nickelodeon the other day, and a fantastic voiceover guy, Jeff Glenn Bennett, who's just one of my favorites to work with, one of my friends, and he's a guy I admired for a long time. We actually asked, because in one scene I was supposed to talk to myself as these 2 different characters, but Jeff was there, and he ended up, I can't remember the characters, and I probably shouldn't even say now because it hasn't aired, but we ended up switching the characters. We were 2 of the same type of like donuts, I don't know, talking donuts, and one was the leader and one was the other guy. And then at the end, I was going to be the leader, or I was going to be the donut, and then he was the leader, and then I ended up being the leader because the other guy talked to another character. Because it's always better when you get to, like if you and I are doing a scene, I can play off what you say and what I say to you, vice versa. Sometimes, if you have that luxury with another actor in the room, because a lot of times we're alone in the booth, as you said, playing with ourselves. And you have to do that. But it's not too bad. I mean, because even if you say a line and then respond and you leave a little beat, like you have to take a breath or swallow something, the engineer can always tighten the stuff. He can tighten that space. We don't usually do it that way, but it's fun.
It sounds fun.
It's fun. You're getting paid to be ridiculous, and silly and schizophrenic to a certain extent.
Who's the better boss in Saints Row, you or Troy Baker? Don't worry, he's going to get the same thing in half an hour.
Who's the better boss? I like Troy's voice better in it, because I like Troy's voice. I think it's pretty cool. But you play as Nolan North now, don't you? You don't play as Male 1,
Yeah.
which I believe his name is under. You play as Nolan North. So we're talking feathers in the cap.
Yeah.
I'm a peacock, okay?
That's awesome.
What a dick thing to say, huh? It's true though. No, but that was one of the funniest things when they called me, because I had done some other things for Saints Row, and they called me and they said, "We have this idea. Would you want to do this?" I just thought it was hysterical. Yeah, I said, wait, who they play as? And then if you play the lines, like some people said, I play it with your voice and I'm a big black female. You know, and I'm like, all right, I'd like to see my voice coming out of, you know, Queen Latifah. That'd be great, you know. That'd be badass.
Yeah.
But no, but some of the lines, you know, the players' lines have to work for all the characters, whoever you pick.
Right.
So all of a sudden, you know, I'm sitting there reading some of these lines where it's like, oh, Rick, was it Rick? I can't remember the character. It's like, you know, we're meant to be together, Rick. And I'm like, what the? I said, whoa, what is this? They said, well, no, you know, Laura Bailey, she said the temp, and you know, as that story goes, you know, I have to say the same lines that if someone's playing as a female would have to say.
Right.
And you know, the character was in love with that main dude. I don't remember his name now, but I was like, oh, all right, I signed the contract, better keep going. But yeah, and I got to work with Keith David. I mean, it's badass. Keith David is the real deal. Gentleman, professional, but you just sit there, it's like, what does that smell? Is that badass? and if you look it up, that is badass.
Nice.
He sweats badass,
And
but he's a sweetheart.
He's the other character who's playing himself too.
Yes.
So
Nolan North and
Keith
Keith David got to play as themselves.
Yeah.
With ourselves. Look out! What's next?
Next up, it says working on Transformers Prime.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm a huge Transformers geek.
Are you?
Do
you love you some smokescreen?
Wait till we get to the autograph line.
Really?
Really?
Okay, I got to tell you something. That was huge, because I remember Transformers. I have kids. I've spent so much money on the toys, and when I finally broke into that, what was amazing, and anybody's a Transformers fan out there that's watching stuff, I'm sitting here, and it was Kevin Michael Richardson to my right, and who was it next to me here? No, Kevin was to my left. Darren Norris it was to my right, and then right there, and on a square table. Now, if you think of in that corner, right there was Peter Cullen. And then the next to him was Megatron, was Frank Welker, who's lives across the street from me now. He's one of my best friends. I mean, he and I play golf together. He's just the best. But I'm going to tell you a Peter Cullen story. I remember reading my first thing, and I just looked, and some line like, "What are we going to do?" You know, I smoked him. "What are we going to do?" And then that voice came out. He goes, "Autobots, roll out." And I got goosebumps. And I just looked, and Kevin and Darren, I just looked at them both, and they just went like that, and Kevin went, "It's out." I mean, it was seriously, I mean, when you hear that voice coming out, and he's the loveliest, nicest guy. Oh.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure.
Yeah, did you?
Uh-huh.
I did a panel with him at San Diego Comic-Con a couple years ago, him and Greg Berger, and you know, he's that voice. I mean, that's his voice.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not, and just the you know what he can do with the, you know, it's you know, the thing about it, you got Frank Welker and God, I mean, that cast was amazing. I mean,
really
Steve Bloom, Fred Tatasciore came in, David Sobolov, Darren Norris again, Kevin Michael Richardson, but you know, sitting there watching Frank and Peter Cullen, standing next to each other, talking about the business in between takes, and we had so much fun. Should have taken about 2 hours to record the whole episode. It would always take 3 to 4 because we were cutting up and laughing and just trying different things. But it was like being in a class. I mean, just to watch them work, you just like be a sponge. It was actually one of the few times they got me to shut up, because I tend to be pretty talkative. But you could just watch them for hours and listen to them.
Yeah, that's my entire childhood, those two.
Yeah,
You
I know.
There's so many people who played those characters, but when you hear it from them.
When you hear it, when you're 6 feet away on a microphone, and he's there, and you know, like he'll say, you know, like the battle goes on for this, you know, he does this whole like little monologue. You're literally like, you go from being an adult to to being a little kid. I mean, you almost feel smaller in the chair you're sitting in because we would watch him, and the funny thing is you'd look around and nobody would be on their phones or looking at their script. When he was doing something, everybody would just watch. He's brilliant, and as sweet a guy as you'll ever want to meet.
Wow. Okay, last thing here, and you've already kind of answered it, but we'll play it anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We go in order. We go by the card.
I think I legally have to ask this. What is it like inside Deadpool's head?
It's pretty crazy. It's kind of like a pinball machine where things are just bouncing around the whole time. The great thing about playing that character, and that is something I'm actually very, very proud of in my career. And this is an exclusive. I don't think I've ever told anybody this, but I was thinking about it recently. Deadpool, I never realized how hugely popular that character is. And when we did Wolverine vs. Hulk, they told me later that I was the first person ever to voice Deadpool in anything.
Yeah. Because he's a character who just came into his own in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, and I think that we did that about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it took off huge. I got hounded by 5 Deadpools at the same time earlier today.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's some here.
There are many here.
But you're talking to the real one.
Yeah.
You know what's great about that, especially that Wolverine vs. Hulk movie? They had actually recorded it with another actor earlier. But I did Young Justice with the creators. And if you watch the DVD extras in the back, they have us. If you buy that film, you'll see DVD extras of us actually recording. Me, Fred Tatasciore, Steve Bloom, doing Wolverine. But what was really cool about it is they came to me and I said, "Where's the script?" And they said, "Well, there really isn't one." I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "This is what's going on. We'll show you what it played and what line was, but then you just go in and make something up."
You know what amuses me about this is we had, I wish I could remember his name. There was a voice actor here one of the first years I came to Metrocon. This was about 6-7 years ago. Mm-hmm. And during one of the panels, he was going, "I was going to play Deadpool, and then they changed it."
Really?
Really.
Was he Canadian?
Yeah.
That was him. Yeah, and I asked, and I'll tell you, just for posterity's sake, he was. They said he was. He did a good job, but they changed how they wanted it to be.
Right.
And because I worked with the producers, Craig Kyle, from Marvel on that. They came in and we see the lines that were played, and they said but they knew how I was, and like in a session I will go off on a tangent, and they're like, "Just keep recording, we might use something."
Right.
And oftentimes they do, and we ended up going up, and he said rockabye bang, which is part of that movie. That was completely, I made that up on the fly. It's like, let's go back and get those floating babies. I didn't realize I had only seen pictures. I didn't know the plot. They showed me him walking down a hallway of all those, the clones, I guess, in the chambers. And that's what I did. I went and floating babies, Deadpool peed on himself. Wolverine, I shot you in the ass. So many of those things.
Yeah.
Go buy it, check it out, and get the game too. The game is schizophrenic fun to the end. I think we're going to wrap things up now.
Yeah, we are.
Right? I could see. Could you tell? Could you tell his body language? It's time to end it.
Go now before they kick us out. Thank you very much. This has been a huge pleasure.
Hey, so much fun. Absolutely. Yeah. And where do people see this?
This is TJOmega.org.
Why are you not there now?
Well, if they're watching this video, they just might be.
Is that how those interwebs work?
Yeah, it's this new thing they got. It's real cool.
I still have a Atari.
We'll get you there.
I'm gonna need some help. TJOmega.org. Go. Stay. Do whatever.
Whatever.